in this episode of Raw Garage, we found a dirt bike buried underwater at the bottom of the Timor Lake. We had to swim down 10 feet underwater, holding our breath to tie this thing up and try to pull it out. Will we be able to get this thing recovered from the lake, and will we be able to get it to ever run again? Find out on this episode of Raw Garage.
Yeah, you want to pass me a rope? I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it solo to this. This is an abandoned dirt bike. Buried under the water for years.
Oh man, we still caught a hose.
I should just start her up and ride her out. Trying to get it to wheel. You pull it this way. There it goes.
So yeah, this dirt bike wasn't super abandoned. It was actually me that drove it into the water because I'm practicing a crazy dirt bike stunt, but the bike has been underwater for over an hour, which means the bike is completely waterlogged and it might be already ruined. But let's see if Matt and the Raw Garage guys can get this thing up and running again.
Probably all this gas honestly might run. I just pull the air filter out of it.
Yeah. Oh, you're just going out the bottom. Is that a drain or an adjustment?
Yeah, it's a drain.
Oh, that's great. Already built.
Still smells like water. I think if we drain it for long enough, it'll come out fuel. Ooh, there we go. Whew, there we go. It's starting to turn into fuel now.
Awesome, we actually got the bike to fire up, which is a huge step. So it turns out, even though we got the engine to start, this dirt bike is totally unrideable and completely trashed. I'm hoping it's not totaled, so we're gonna bring it back into the garage and we're gonna see if Matt can fix it.
All right, so it's all cleaned off. We're ready to work on it. The water got in the fuel and water got in the engine, so we're gonna drain the oil out, drain the fuel, put fresh fuel in, fresh oil in, and see if it fires up. Yeah, oil's not supposed to be that color. All right, so our next step is to drain the fuel. I'm gonna put the drain plug back in, put some cheap oil in there and just flush it around a little bit. I'll drain it one more time.
A lot of water coming out of the bike.
Well, that's gasoline.
Probably some water in there.
When I pulled the oil drain plug, it was crystal clear at first.
Oh, like water.
Crystal clear water, yeah. Yeah, luckily it didn't seem like it mixed too much with the oil. I just put fresh oil in it. I'm gonna crank it over a little bit and then change the oil one more time. There's that carburetor. That carburetor killing lime. Oh, but like none of it got through. It looks good. We're looking great. Air filter did its job. My only concern right now, I don't know if I have any, like it's called heat. It displaces water that gets into the fuel. Oh, there it is.
Miracle.
We know what we're doing in here. It's not our first time bogging. I think it's okay. I'm just gonna spray starting fluid in there, which will do the same thing as the heat. I'm just gonna spray this in there. Which
Way drier than snowmobile. Could it be in the exhaust back beating the cylinder?
yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. So this kind of does the same thing, displaces some of the water that gets in there.
Don't let it match.
This looks fine. I'm just gonna leave the oil in it for now.
Oh yeah, good job, Matt. Keep it going. You spilled some.
All right, now it's ready for fresh fuel. All right, let's see if she starts.
Clean out is done. Let's see if it starts.
Easy. All right, go jump it. You want to try taking it while I spray it? I'll try and keep it alive. Hopefully we get something through it. warm up.
Right. It runs, but just not good. Not good enough to ride.
So Carter's gonna be attempting to do a backflip again because last time when he tried, it didn't go so well. Yep. But the current issue is that his bike is not running very well. Let me demonstrate. When you give it throttle, it doesn't rev up. Let me ride it around, I'll show you. That's not really going to work. So these little dirt bikes are really simple. There's not much to them. This issue feels exactly like a fuel delivery issue. On these bikes, they have what's called a carburetor, which is like a mechanical device that atomizes the fuel and sprays it into the combustion chamber. So I'm going to pull the carburetor off and see if we can clean it out. My guess is a little bit of gunk, maybe some dirt in there, maybe from when it fell in the lake. So let's take it apart and find out. So this is the carburetor here. This is the intake, and then the carburetor, and then from there it goes straight into the actual engine itself. So it's just held on by a couple of things, and it'll pop right off. First I went and got the whole thing hot. Oh, there are bugs in here. So this piece here is actually where your throttle connects into the carburetor. The cable that comes down from your hand grip and lifts up on the, I don't even know what it's called. It's like a throttle valve. I'm sure there's some official term for it we can look up later. So this is the bowl of the carburetor. It sits here. It's oriented like this. When it fills up with fuel, this is the float. It actually lifts up and closes it off so that it doesn't overflow. And then in here, we have our two jets. These are the two orifices that the fuel actually flows through. And one is our pilot jet, which is what controls the fuel at idle. And the other is called a main jet, which is what injects the fuel above idle. Because the engine was idling just fine, it's just when you gave it throttle, it really means that the main jet is our issue. We're gonna pull that out and clean it. We'll probably just clean both of them. So I very quickly found out what's wrong with it, and or at least what's likely wrong with it. If you look in the bowl, there's a ton of like sand and other grit. It looks like the kind of stuff you find in the bottom of the lake. I don't know why lake debris would end up in a dirt bike carburetor. Who knows? Oh! Anyway, that's probably what's clogging up the jets. So the best way to clean these carburetors is with an ultrasonic cleaner, and I don't have one of those, but my buddy Alex does. So I'm gonna take this apart and take the parts over to his place and run them through that. So if you look here, look at all that gunk. That's not right.
So while Matt's at Alex is getting the sediment washed out of the carburetor, there's bound to be sediment in the fuel tank as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that off, wash it out with some fresh gasoline, and then put it back on. All right, now we got the gas tank off, it's time to go rinse it out. So I just dumped it out, probably still some sediment in there, so I'm gonna put a little bit of fresh gasoline in there to slosh it around and to get that last bit of sediment out of there and get her clean. And so it doesn't need that much gas because all I'm going to be doing is sloshing it around to get that sediment out of the bottom. When you're reinstalling parts like this, you got to make sure not to pinch any of the gas lines, anything that flows or anything like that, just to make sure that you got a good fuel flow.
All right, here we go. We ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right.
What do you call this again? Ultrasonic cooler.
And we're done. All right, so I've got the carburetor all cleaned up. It's back together and it's ready to go back in the bike. So put it in and then we'll fire it up and see if it's fixed. All right, we should be good. Let's pull it off the stand. Try and fire it up. I'm gonna take a few drinks, get the fuel all back into the carburetor. Did Jackson put the fuel back in this?
No, he left it empty.
Ooh. Come on, Jackson. What's wrong with it? Ain't got no gas in it.
Okay, that's not supposed to.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
Fixed. All right, so a proper test drive means taking it to the jump track, but safety first. Finally, after hours and days of hard work, we've got this Sunken dirt bike running as good as new. This was a ton of work.
And just like that, Matt actually got this thing back and running. It turns out the carburetor was the issue. We got a little bit of pong gunk in there, but once that was removed from the main jet, this thing is running as good as new. Huge shout out to Matt with all of his hard work to get this bike up and running. So what do? I'm hopping back on it. I'm jumping it back into the water, baby. Let's go!
Go, 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 go!
Perfect. I am the Ranger. Carter, you're crazy. Well, time to recover it yet again and try and get it running a second time. See you guys on the next episode. Oh yeah, what she's done